Hi there, I'm Nicole King. I'm the broker owner of 41 Realty Group in Billings, Montana, and this is Ian Ullman. He is with Guaranteed Rate. Thank you for sitting down with me again today.
Yeah, for sure.
We have so far in all of the Lending 101 videos sort of been tackling questions that they've been submitted to us or as they've occurred in transactions that we're working through. But we were looking at that infographic, which we're going to put up on the screen in just a second, that has that buying and selling perspective of each real estate transaction, that we know that each transaction kind of has the same pattern to it, but all the details within those are unique, right? Each buyer and seller are different, each house is different, each loan is different.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good idea if we go through the infographic sort of step by step.
Yeah, for sure.
First one on there is choosing a real estate agent and choosing a lender.
Yeah.
So
when it comes to choosing a real estate agent, because I've done it once before I was in the business and didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
What are things that clients should look for when they're looking at choosing a real estate agent?
There are quite a few things. If you Google online, you're going to get so many answers, but I think it ultimately boils down to the top 4 things that I think are most important. One, are they available when you're available? Yeah. So, if somebody works nights, sleeps a bit during the day, and then is available for that from like 2 o'clock on, and a lender or a real estate agent who is available, only evenings and weekends, maybe they have a day job, is probably going to be a good fit for somebody who, doesn't necessarily need them to be available during the day.
Right.
But if you're, a stay-at-home parent and you're only available while your kids are at school, an agent who has another job and isn't available at all during the day to answer phone calls and emails and go show houses is probably not going to be the right fit. So I see a lot of stuff online about don't use a part-time agent. It is fine to use a part-time agent with a few caveats to it, that they're available, right? So whatever it is that buyer or seller schedule is, making sure it matches up with the client's schedule too. And then I think the next most important thing is, do they communicate in the method that you prefer? Right. So my favorite is texting, but if I have a client whose favorite is phone calls or emails, I better be calling or emailing and not sending them texts. Right. So whatever way it is that the buyer or seller prefers to have communication done, that agent needs to be willing to do it in that manner as well. Yeah. And then I think the next one, same thing about that, either using a new agent or a part-time agent, they don't have to know everything. So an agent who is willing to admit, I don't know this, but is super resourceful, capable of finding it, willing to go find it, whatever that answer is, willing to dive in and go find it. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the last thing that I think is super important is, are they at a brokerage where their broker is available to them at a moment's notice, that they've got enough experienced agents around them that they can get any question answered quickly. That agent doesn't have to be the only resource for their client. If they're in a well-supported environment, they're a great agent.
That makes total sense, because as much as we try to say in this profession that people should be available 24/7, the reality is we've got a lot of people with spouses, kids, parents, grandparents, you name it, or outside jobs. And the reality is, it just needs to match up to where the client's at. You don't have to be available 24/7. You and I both have youngish families and have intentional time blocks that are well communicated. But that's just part of the expectation that's set. Like, if you need me from this time to this time, I will get back to you after that, but this is my family's time. And I think that's a very healthy balance for any professional to be sustainable and not get burnt out.
So setting healthy boundaries, would you say?
Setting and communicating healthy boundaries.
So I talked about what's important in selecting a real estate agent. What do you feel like is important when selecting a lender?
So I think it's very similar for a lender. I joke that we're kind of like the old dating game in this business. Like, some of it's matchmaking personalities. Right. There's some people that I'm a pretty jovial guy. I love people. I'm not afraid to joke around a little bit. And I can chameleon to most types of people, but some people, that's just not going to be a good fit.
Sure. I can see that.
So that's a piece of it. But the availability thing, just communicating that. I mean, the old, your mortgage lender's only available 8 to 5 banker hours. There are some who still operate that way. I choose not to.
Yep.
Like I said, outside of a 4 or 5 hour window on Saturday and then my weekly Sunday morning meeting with Jesus, I'm pretty available for clients personally. That's a choice I made in my business.
Okay.
So it's finding a lender that matches those things. Also, it's your hard-earned money as a client, right? So
Sure.
you do want to have a couple conversations with, recommended lenders in the area
Yes.
around fees and interest rates. Because at the end of the day, the things people care about most: how much of my money do you want up front for a down payment and closing costs?
Yeah.
How much of my money do you want every month, and what's that interest rate?
Yeah.
So to talk to a couple lenders and figure out who's going to be the best fit for that person's scenario, like we've talked about in every video.
Yes.
Those interest rates, those fees, all those things vary by transaction, by client.
And knowledgeable about the different resources available
Right.
to them, right? So not just the
Right.
loan programs themselves, but all the assistance options that are out there as
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
Awesome. Well, go out and find yourself a great real estate agent fitting whatever criteria it is that we went through. Some great highlighted points on real estate agents and lenders. Whoever it is that you put in place as far as your real estate professional team, make sure that they all communicate really well together as well. So we will cover the next portion of that infographic in the next video.